the Kryptonaut Podcast. I'm Mark Storrs, and with me, as always, is
Chris.
And
oh, the poor sick Chris and Rob Morphy.
Chris, unfortunately, is sick, and last week he made a comparison. Well, he died.
Don't just say I died.
No,
I died.
Yeah,
he died. He resurrected. He came back.
As we were talking, he made the comparison that he sounds like Winnie the Pooh.
Last week I did.
He did sound like Winnie the Pooh.
Really?
So, yeah,
like classic Disney Pooh?
It was kind of adorable.
Oh, I wish I had heard the voice. Now I'm sad.
No.
I talked to you last week, but it must not have been a Pooh day.
It was why bother? It was,
it was
very bad.
3 or 4 days of heavy-duty poo.
Yeah.
Super Pooh. Did you get heavy on the honey?
Something.
He's fighting real monsters. They're called bacteria. That's one to grow on.
Nice. All right, so let's kick off the show with some ratings and reviews from iTunes. As always, be sure to rate and review this episode of the Kryptonaut Podcast on the Apple iTunes and the app. However you do it, Apple iTunes, the regular app.
Facebook.
We have Facebook, but the Apple iTunes is the most important because it helps us with our rankings and whatnot anyway.
Yes.
First review here, best ever 5-star from Year Bolin. Love the banter. Have been binge listening for a week and have enjoyed each episode.
Wow.
Thank you very much. Very nice.
We love the banter too.
We do.
Thank
you. Okay, moving on here. 5-star review, The Right Balance, Maxwell TG. It's fun hanging with these guys and entertaining the notion for an hour that, hey, maybe this crazy stuff really happened. Mark, Chris, and National Treasure Rob Morphy.
Oh, bless your heart for saying so.
Have a great dynamic that hits a perfect balance between having fun with the material and a genuine love of the bizarre. They dig deep into the grab bag to pull out some truly strange and singular reports I've never heard before. Looking forward to their take on some classic tales, too. Thanks for the podcast, guys.
Oh,
National Treasure.
National Treasure.
Robert
that
Morphy.
might be the sweetest thing anyone's ever said.
You are going to be the next Dan Brown
book. There you go.
When Tom Hanks plays me in the movie.
Just Rob Morphy.
You're going to be the
Treasure.
thing. They're going to be like, at the end, like it's going to be you.
Oh, they're going to find you. They're going to find you.
Like you're going to be the riddle.
Great.
Oh, that's funny.
I want Nick Cage to find me so bad.
Moving on. 5-star review. Great podcast. Go Big Orange 1. The guys are hilarious and approachable. Wonderful chemistry and audio quality. It's like sitting in a car with a bunch of friends. Hope to hear Bigfoot sighting soon. All right. Excellent review.
Oh, we're going to get into some hairy hominid type shit.
Oh, yeah.
At some point.
We got something coming up for that.
Yeah, we do.
All right. And the final review here from iTunes. Come for the cryptids, stay for the jokes. 5-star review from Vinyl Beard. I've really enjoyed the podcast and their lighthearted yet fanatical thirst for lesser-known cryptid stories, and this has brought a smile to my face. I work for a hospice, and it's not an easy job. Listening to the podcast on the way to work and seeing my patients makes my day a little easier. The camaraderie is endearing, and these guys I could consider bearded brothers in arms.
Oh, you know, in all fairness, not to break it down, I love hospice. They helped my dad so much back when I was a kid and he had cancer. And I have so much respect for everyone who works for hospice. So thank you for that.
Yeah, definitely.
And the fact that we're making it a little bit easier. Go Beard, man. Thank you.
You know,
that was heartfelt.
I actually read that review and I was like, yeah, man, that's kind of what...
I love that organization. Yeah. Absolutely love it.
But it's nice to know that we're helping someone get through their day.
That so many people get it. We love this stuff. We absolutely love this stuff.
Yeah, but we're having fun with it, too.
And we respect it and we take it serious, but... You've just got to call it as you see it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think a lot of people are on that same wavelength, and thank you all.
Yes, thank you all, and especially their Vinyl Beard. Thank you for the job that you do, providing hospice care to people. Man. That's huge.
God bless you.
Okay, so Rob has some Facebook reviews he's going to read real quick, and we're going to
the treasure's going to read.
Yeah, yes.
The National Treasure. Here we go.
Let me get the throat ready. Excuse me. All right, this is from Gwyneth Brown. 5-star review. Thank you, Gwyneth. Just started listening to this podcast today. That was Friday. But currently, when she wrote it, it was today.
Okay.
And I learned a few things. One, I cannot wear mascara because this show induces tear-strewn giggle fits. That's adorable, for the record.
That is adorable. 2,
I may have to stop listening on my headphones at work. See number 1.
Yeah.
Also, how Shats Ahoy was not in my vocabulary, I'll never know, but I will be using it at every opportunity in the future. That was awesome.
There you go.
That was awesome, Gwyneth.
We bring the new vocab, Shats
Oh,
Ahoy.
It's
we
funny,
are mascara dangerous and
Yeah.
Shats Ahoy.
I don't even
will be
remember
living large.
Shats
When your
Ahoy.
boss is like, "Why are you crying? Where's the report?" Just look at him and be like, "Shats Ahoy, motherfucker."
Shats Ahoy.
Shats Ahoy.
Oh, that is funny. All right, and one more, and then
All
we're
right.
going to get on to the good stuff.
Here we go.
Even though I really enjoy this part. This is from Spencer Edward Goodrich, another 5-star review. Thank you so much,
Excellent.
Spencer. Love the show every week. Just read the article about the robo-flowers, and that would make a fun episode, as they always are. Perfect show for any cryptid and paranormal lover. Well, somebody just got lucky. Because this was written to us on May 22nd, and as of June, I don't know what month
as
it
of
is.
May, June.
Whatever
I don't-
today
I
is,
don't-
we uploaded the RoboFlowers.
Thurf. It's the Thurf of June.
RoboFlowers, we
But
posted
RoboFlowers
today.
is up, Spencer. So
Yeah, there you go. Go
enjoy.
listen to it.
And by the time you listen to me saying this, you will have already hopefully enjoyed it.
And had 2 other episodes possibly.
Oh,
so
my God.
That's how pod time
Why
works,
does
Bobby.
time have to be linear? Dang tarn it.
Just how pod time
Thank you guys
works.
all so much.
Time.
It absolutely makes our day to hear these things, and we're glad you're enjoying
Yeah.
it.
Totally. All right, so let's get started with the show proper. This week we are talking about the gray ghost of Kinchafoonee. In the waning days of the summer of 55, on a lonely stretch of road in rural Georgia, a young forestry worker was viciously pursued and mauled by a humanoid creature that seems to have leapt from the pages of H.G. Wells' 1896 classic, The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Classic.
Classic.
Stone classic. Especially the 70s one with Michael York and Burt Lancaster. That's my jam. Not so much the one from the 30s. The one from 96 is interesting.
We're just talking about it,
Yeah,
actually.
that's crazy. But anyway, this is a mixed bag of monster, and this is some crazy shit that happened to a dude. Let's find out. On Monday, August 1st, 1955, an almost certainly sweat-soaked and bug-bitten 20-year-old by the name of Joseph Whaley, I just like Whaley, that's a cool name, was mowing the hardy stalks of wild grass that grew on the land between the Braunwood-Smithville Highway and the swampy, alligator-infested Kinchafoonee Creek. God damn, that's a hard word. And he was doing it the old-fashioned way, with a scythe.
Ugh, that's the
Gross.
worst.
So at 55, I guess there's not like weed whackers.
No.
You don't
I
have
mean,
the fundamental technology we all grew up
I
with.
mean, well, don't they have those like push mowers?
Yeah.
Like the but if you're doing like the side of a road like an overgrown, you obviously can't do
he
that.
is
So
fucking
you need to get a
grim
scythe.
reaping those fucking shrubs.
Yeah.
Thank you, technology.
Absolutely. There's no way to know if he was reveling in the peace and quiet and the satisfaction that comes from doing a hard day's work for fair wages, or if he, face scorched to match the scarlet horsefly welts on his arms and legs, rued the day that he got hired by the Georgia State Forestry Commission. However Whaley felt on that muggy August day, one can be confident that he had no idea that life as he knew it was about to take a sharp turn from the monotony of cutting grass into the stark terror of coming face to face with the hideous unknown. The first sign that something was not quite right came when Whaley heard a, and I quote, strange noise in the thicket near the creek.
Telltale signs.
Mm-hmm. We've all been outside walking on a lonely country road or doing some train tracks, some dumb shit,
Well, yeah.
and you hear that crack,
Yeah.
and you're just like, you stop. Now, so far, none of us have seen that shit, unless our minds were blacked out in some Men in Black style fucking scenario. But you're always terrified it's going to be the worst case scenario. Spoiler alert. This guy's going to face the worst case scenario.
All right.
The young Dawson resident paused, Dawson being the city where he was from, straining to listen. Then, tightly grasping his scythe, he began to edge his way toward the dense thicket of trees near the roiling creek. In his own words, I walked to the edge of the woods and heard the bushes rattle. Whaley pushed through the thickets and took a few steps inside the canopy-shrouded woodlands. Without warning, a snarling, huge, hair-smothered monstrosity burst through the trees, heading directly toward the panicked youth.
Head on.
Head on.
But to he has a scythe.
He has a scythe.
Okay, good.
He's got a scythe.
So you got a weapon, basically.
Yes.
You can Grim Reaper
Yeah,
this thing's
well,
ass into the next dimension.
They're not exactly
If need be.
nimble. They're big.
Yeah, they are. They're unwieldy. And who knows how sharp it is.
It's true.
But let's at least he's got that.
Best case scenario so far, he's moving forward.
So we're going to describe what this thing looked like. Okay. I'm going to take a pause from this thing, booking at poor young Whaley, and break it down.
Okay.
Following his harrowing ordeal, Whaley would describe this extraordinary entity that attacked him to the newsmen who rushed to the scene following the event. He claimed that the bizarre tusked beast was at least 6 feet tall and covered with shaggy gray hair. The young forestry worker further stated that the charging creature was grunting like a wild pig and that it bore tusk-like teeth and pointed ears. So basically what we've got here, in the synthesis of it and what the gist of it I've gotten from him, is a gorilla, basically like figure, but bipedal,
Okay.
with a kind of combination wild boar simian face. It's got like long lower canines.
Right.
I don't know what the nose was like. I don't know if it was snouty
I know.
or what.
I'm
but
just picturing a pig face
It's
walking
like a Gamorrean guard, but hairy.
warthog.
Yeah.
It almost kind of sounds like a sheep squatch,
There's-
minus the horns.
There's a little element of that.
Yeah.
There is, because it's shaggy hair, but the horns are essential to a sheep squatch.
That's true. But didn't the sheep squatch have tusks too?
They have a lot of
I don't
different
think it
crazy
did.
shit, but I don't remember the
Yeah,
tusks.
I could be confusing it with something else.
Tuscan Raiders.
I am sorry, sheep squatch. He or she is a listener.
No doubt.
Yes.
Whaley would also assert that while the thing's arms were thick-set and heavy, its hands were not very large. Interesting. He added that it was built something on the order of a man, but it reminded me of a gorilla. Whaley further claimed that the creature was hairy all over like a wire-haired terrier dog. Now, I don't know much about dogs. You know more, Mark, than I think either of us.
So it's got like spindly, kind of wispy
So sort of like my
hair.
beard?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Okay, so this thing's head to toe my beard.
Basically.
That's
yeah.
unfortunate for anything.
Yeah, it's got
Because this is like
it is covered
an
in
unkempt
split ends.
afro in reverse. Oh, yeah. I conditioned the dickens out of it.
You got to use lotion, dude.
Well,
Or beard oil.
we'll talk after.
All right, perfect.
All right.
beard oil.
As the lumbering, growly, toothy fiend got ever closer, the 20-year-old tensed, ready for battle.
Oh, battle tested.
This is what he said. The creature walked towards me. I still had my scythe. I took a couple of swings at him and struck him in the arms and chest. I hit his hands a couple of times, but he still kept coming at me. Whaley could see that even with the scythe, his assault on the brutish creature had been for naught. So he dropped it and decided to make a break for his Jeep, which was parked on the grass down the road a little bit. The hog-like simian let out a bestial roar as its prey sprinted away. Arriving at his vehicle, the first thing Whaley attempted to do was radio into the ranger tower for some backup, but he was unable to connect. He then hopped into the open-sided Jeep. So, one of those old-school military Jeeps.
Yeah.
Just kind of open. Inserted his key into the ignition, and just as he began to turn, the creature yanked him through the window, tearing his shirt and ripping the flesh below, leaving gashes in his arm and shoulder.
Oh, dude.
Whaley lunged away from the creature, pushed open the passenger side door, and collapsed onto the asphalt. He wasted no time in getting to his feet, and with a surge of terror-fueled adrenaline, he began running back into the woods, with the now completely enraged monster in hot pursuit.
Don't ever go back to the woods, stay on the road.
Well, he was 55. He hadn't seen all the good horror films. He didn't. Texas Chainsaw hadn't been made
Jason
yet.
didn't happen
Yeah, there was
yet.
no Friday the 13th. There was no Mike Myers. You don't know not to run back into the woods.
Okay.
What Evil Dead would have taught him.
Yeah.
It was the 50s. It was an innocent
Yeah,
time.
they didn't know anything.
People were different back then.
They were different.
They were shorter,
They
not as
did.
intelligent.
Yeah, clearly.
Fish under the sea dance.
Nice.
Oh, Lord in heaven. All right. Blessed with the speed and moxie of youth.
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
a word I don't get to use nearly enough.
Yeah, kid, you've got some moxie. You
Yeah,
see?
he's got
Yeah.
mad moxie, see, huh? Whaley managed to lure the beast back into the dense undergrowth of its domain. Running at top speed, branches whipping against his exposed flesh, Whaley took a deep breath and suddenly turned and began to backtrack toward his Jeep, praying that the keys were still in the ignition. Whaley pushed himself as hard as he could, frightfully casting backwards glances. The thing was still chasing him. He ran harder, putting some distance between himself and the diabolical entity that seemed hell-bent on capturing him for reasons too terrifying for the young man to even contemplate. With moments to spare, Whaley scrambled into his Jeep, found his keys where he had left them, and with what must have been the biggest rush of relief ever experienced by a human being, sped away mere moments before the seemingly exhausted thing stumbled onto the pavement behind him. Back at the ranger station, Whaley was treated for the scratch on his shoulder and arm. He dutifully reported the incident to his supervisor, Forest Ranger Jim Bowen, and would later repeat the same testimony under oath. Later, as evidence of his terrifying encounter, he displayed the scratches on his left arm to newsmen. Ranger Bowen told United Press representatives in Dawson that he had gone back to the scene of the encounter and found traces of a struggle at the site, stating, and this is a quote from Bowen, "Very definitely something was there that looked like a large object."
Vague, but
Yeah.
you know.
Something was there that looked like something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what kind of things are going to be left behind? Maybe a couple tufts of fur, some flattened long grass.
I mean, his scythe would be there, right?
His
And
scythe?
wouldn't his scythe have blood from the creature since he hit it?
If he
I
managed
don't know.
to
If
cut
it was
it.
that big, there should be a big path of broken shit. There would be fur, footprints.
Yeah, possible.
I mean, there should be a lot
possible
of
scat.
evidence.
Unless it was dry. If it was dry, there might not be footprints.
Let's not forget cryptozoological scat. There's an entire
I still
cryptozoology
feel like there
scat
would
museum.
be something.
In all fairness, the thing might not have had diarrhea.
maybe as part of its attack mode, it evacuates its bowels so it's lighter and then it attacks.
That's a very interesting defense
Cryptozoological. Listen,
mechanism.
I went down a rabbit hole of cryptozoological scat. Don't ask why or when.
Okay.
But it happened at a time in my life where things weren't going too well.
Well, sometimes you have to go into the world of spoor.
Yeah,
yourself.
the monsters weren't good
Of
enough.
Bigfoot turds.
You know, they have found interesting turds. You know what? They have this new fucking thing, though. Honestly, I was watching this fuck-sucking Yeti documentary, and they have a thing that you strain water, and it can tell you everything that walked through, drank, or stepped in the water, or anything.
Yeah, it gives you all the different biological breakdown of everything.
What the fuck?
Yeah, we do that.
First
Well,
off, that's Big
not
Brother
we,
is the
but-
Dickens. Secondly, well, now nothing can escape our grasp.
Exactly.
We own the water
Welcome,
DNA.
dude. Electric eye, but for the water.
All right.
Well,
Terrell County Sheriff, which happens to be the county this took place in, Zeke Matthews, was reported to have said that an investigation would be conducted by his county's department. But he was growing increasingly skeptical, and he announced that he was through with his investigation the very same day. He quoted, "If I believed anything was out there, or if there was, if I believed there was anything to what he told, then I would be out looking for it." Which means, of course, that he does not think there was anything in the story.
Why? Just side note here. Why in your notes are you referencing the Constitution? Is that just
The Constitution is the name of the newspaper that reported it.
Oh, okay. I was like, what does this guy do with the Constitution?
You know, I'm gonna break down some props from me here. This story I only found in an old paperback, self-published, basically mini novel or mini book about mostly the Hopkinsville goblins.
Oh,
but
really?
then it dealt with a spate of crazy sightings.
Oh, cool.
Throughout Georgia and Ohio, but especially Georgia, there was the little man of Edison who looked like a little hairy troll. There was like crazy unidentified cat creatures.
Nice.
Georgia was literally riddled during this period, so people were kind of getting caught up in it all. And with that, I got this booklet, and I was so excited. I had to actually narrate it into my tablet.
Oh, there you
and then
see.
email it to myself.
yeah.
So I could incorporate it into this fucking story. That's the work I do for this pod.
Oh, you speak into a tablet. Nice.
That's why I'm a national treasure.
Nice.
That is true.
Narration.
Let me give you my producer rundown here. 1 second. No, I'm
I know. I'm sorry, but I was just really proud of myself.
I actually, when Rob told me, I was talking to Rob today on the phone. He told me that he dictated it into his tablet. My heart broke a little bit. I'm like, he's gonna do it. He's gonna catch up with technology. This is so nice.
Nah.
I bet you next he's gonna figure out Dropbox finally. Yes. Good job, Rob.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
The skeptical sheriff Zeke Matthews further went on to say that it was likely a hog bear. Now, before you get all excited
Whoa.
and think there's a half hog, half bear creature, this could well be it. That's just a little tiny black bear, just a little baby black bear.
Call him a hog bear.
They call
Hog
them
bear.
hog bears. It was not a hog bear.
That's cute.
Described at least 6 feet tall, this could hardly be confused with a quote-unquote hog bear. The witness himself compared it to a gorilla. While it is larger than the creature seen in Edison, that's the aforementioned tiny gray-haired little man that might be a baby Bigfoot, might be a whole other separate thing that was seen in the state at the same time. Both creatures appear to have a good deal in common. Both were described as gray, and they walked upright. Traces were reported after both, although the Bronwood evidence appears to be somewhat in doubt because everyone takes the sheriff at face value, but I think the sheriff just didn't want to get involved in the shit.
No, dude,
I
it's
think,
1955.
55.
You're celebrating the end of World War II X amount of years earlier.
Yeah, no, 13
years.
10 years of partying.
Yeah, you're still like, God damn, we got Hitler finally, a son of a bitch.
Sure.
Yeah,
you don't want a bunch of yahoos going out with guns, going fucking
dude,
all monster hunt crazy.
We know all about monster hunts with the, help me out here, monster hunt party in, what was the name of the place?
Oh, Mill Race.
Mill Race. Yeah, we know
how things go south.
Carnival
they
show
go south
up.
quick.
Yeah.
Right on.
This man's keeping his town under control.
Absolutely.
And good for him. Sheriff Zeke.
So Sheriff Zeke went on to dig up a local farmer who claimed that he was sick of people fishing on his property, so he took to putting on a Halloween mask and a bed sheet to frighten away those gall-darn fish-stealing some bitches.
That's totally an episode of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
It was Old Man Farmer Wrinkle.
It's the hobo
Wranglers.
with reflectors.
Yeah,
It is.
it is the hobo with reflectors, yeah. But he found a farmer who was...
Orange eyes.
Yeah, old orange eyes, yeah. He found a farmer that was going around scaring people on his property.
Yep. The South Georgia farmer became fed up with the fishermen taking over his private lake, said the GBI, which is the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, in case you guys didn't know.
They have their own version of the FBI?
I guess so, at least in the 50s.
I'm questioning this, okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they fucking loved it. Unable to post a constant guard over the lake, the farmer hit upon another idea. He wrapped himself in a sheet borrowed from a local housewife. Okay, can't get a sheet. I guess he didn't own a sheet. That's fine.
I gotta go talk to Sally.
Wow.
Get a fucking sheet,
I
man.
don't know. The thread
Go to
count
the
wasn't
general
right.
market.
I need to buy a goddamn sheet and scare these goddamn kids off my goddamn land. I say goddamn a lot. Goddamn it.
Also had to borrow a Halloween mask, which seems more reasonable.
This guy sucks at everything.
I know.
He is nothing.
So not only is he Old Orange Eyes, he is Johnny Green Sheets too.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, he
also
is,
Johnny
too.
Green Sheets. Yeah,
Is this guy behind all the other stuff?
Yeah, I know. Is he just traveling the country now?
Just doing shitty and shittily scaring people.
And then he went out to, quote, haunt the fishermen.
How much time does this guy have on his hands?
He went on to say, I scared the pants off the trespassers, laughing. We also fired the imagination of others until they began to see monsters everywhere. Okay.
What? What? Is he dosing the water with LSD?
No, I know.
What is he doing?
What's he feeding those fucking fish?
Dude, that statement is definitely like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you
And he's a
doing?
farmer?
Evidently.
He apparently isn't farming. He's just spending time
Yeah,
scaring
a
locals
farmer of
fishing.
what?
Or making his
Oh,
beds.
yeah. What's he a farmer of?
Yeah.
Fear.
No.
He's a fear farmer.
There's no fucking way. All right, first off,
Well, the guy says he's doing it.
That's the basic. That's the basics of this fucking case. Now, why they call it the Gray Ghost of Kitchener? Let me say that Kinchafoonee.
Yeah, the
I don't know why
ghost.
it's gray. I guess, is ghost just another like word for bugaboo or some sort of demon of the night or something? I don't know, because it's clearly more along the lines of a Bigfoot, but not because of the fucking hog-like qualities it seems to have. I mean,
Right.
I've never heard of a Bigfoot with tusks and big pointy ears.
No.
Thick arms and tiny hands, which is a weird combo again, too. That's one of those little things that someone notices that makes you almost feel like it could be more authentic, because it's so absurd and it's such a weird thing to notice. But if you're getting chased by something like that, that's something you probably would notice. So his little tiny Trump hands and his big fat fucking Lou Ferrigno arms and his tusks and his
I know. It sounds like
ears and snout.
fucking what's his name from the Turtles? Is it Bebop or
Oh,
Rocksteady?
it's Bebop.
One of the two.
Yes.
Yes.
So, okay. That's all we got?
That's basically it.
Okay.
A lot of people didn't believe it. The sheriff was clearly a disbeliever. I don't know what happened to Mr. Whaley. I hope he kept his job. I hope he didn't end up like that poor bastard in fucking Falkland or
Well,
Falkville.
lost everything.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Falkville
yeah.
metal man, Jeff Greenhaw.
Yep.
Because maybe he was pulling a hoax. he was pulling fucking hoax in all likelihood.
Lost his
But
marriage.
goddamn it, he lost everything: marriage,
Yeah.
his house, his life, his self-esteem,
Yep.
his baseball card collection. I'm just assuming.
It's all gone.
Probably lost.
So
it.
I don't know what happened to Whaley, but I do know that he was probably picked on a little bit. The thing was not seen again, as far as I know, and it was part of a huge flap of strange creatures being seen in Georgia. There was that. You remember that little creature I drew those pictures of with the kind of the Asian style domed hats and the cane standing in the middle of the road with the rich noses and the big bulging eyes.
Yep.
Lofton, I think, in Georgia they were seen in. They were seen around that time. Like 1955 gave us the Hopkinsville Goblins, arguably the most fascinating alien invasion, for lack of a better word, case ever. And what was the initial inspiration of E.T., but we'll talk about that when we actually do that case. There was the green-clawed beast from the river there, the Ohio River, I think, that almost drowned a lady. So 1955 is a fucking classic year for humanoids, weird shit, little green men, literally, and seen in more than one place.
Right.
And Georgia was one of the hot spots. So this is the first one we're doing of this spate, but we are definitely going to go back to 55 more than once because that is a deep well of fascinating creatures. But back to this thing specifically, the gray ghost. A lot of people just assume it might have been, literally, I've read this, a rabid Bigfoot. Like it was not acting its naturally docile way. I read on some blog, just some random dude writing it. I don't know who. I would credit it if I did. And I'm like, well, yeah, that makes sense. Rabies makes animals act incongruent. Not that I necessarily believe that Bigfoot are all that docile, for the record.
Well, yeah.
I think a lot of times they just would rather leave us the fuck alone.
Murderous wood apes.
But yeah, I think they're murderous, flesh-eating wood apes, and we should fear them terribly.
Bummer.
There's no Harry and the Hendersons in my fucking mind.
That's how I want my
I
big
wrote
feet.
an article for that magazine in Australia. I wish I could remember. It was something for the Paracon, which is basically the title was "Why I Hope I Never Meet a Bigfoot," where I detail what accounts I've come across where they're hyper violent and the assumptions you can make by all the people that go missing.
Fear mongering the Squatch?
I just don't think they're gentle giants.
But we don't have any. I mean, is there evidence to prove that maybe they're dangerous?
Yes.
Damn it!
Well, yeah.
Don't tell me these things. I want to keep my world bright.
A 700-pound, 7 to 11-foot fucking bipedal wood ape.
They crash through your stairs in your basement and they bring you your dogs. Hello,
again, the Harry and the Henderson syndrome.
That's what they do.
But
they don't rip you asunder and wear your head for a fucking hat.
Silverbacks aren't evil. They're not there to fuck humans up. They're not designed for. I mean, they're herbivores. But if you fuck around or you're in the wrong place, you're the meat. You're the deadest of meat.
Yeah, that's the deal.
Every time. So you got to imagine if this thing is an omnivore, which it makes sense because people have seen them like cracking open shellfish and eating them and carrying deer under their giant arm with their neck snapped to the side. It makes sense that they're an omnivore in the places where they live. We're meat. And we're soft, easy prey.
I mean, I get it.
We're laying in a sleeping bag. You just beat us against a tree a few times, throw us on the fire.
And I'll throw it back to Friday the 13th. I like it.
Yeah, it is.
Nice,
Or The Prophecy. Remember that?
Oh, that's right.
Inside
the Prophecy.
Out Bear.
Yeah, that's right. Inside Out Bear.
So, all right, back to this. I don't think it's a fucking Bigfoot. What's being described
No,
here is not
I don't-
Bigfoot-esque,
No.
except for being hairy and approximately 6 feet tall and bipedal.
Although
And ape-like.
they
All right, so
said-
there's elements, but I still don't think it is.
All right, but they said that. Okay, so the Zeke here, the sheriff is like, no, it's a what is it? A hog bear?
Hog bear.
Hog bear. That's the best dirty bar band.
Or
ever.
just a
We're
bear.
hog bear. Yeah, because bears walk on their hindquarters all the time. They just do that.
They do that, but they don't do it for any significant amount of time. You know what's funny?
There was a video, wasn't there, of a bear that
yes.
it had its paws. Its front paws were like hurt, or like it had like injuries.
Yeah.
And the goddamn thing was just—it was kind of cute actually, just scuttlebutting around, like just out of nowhere. You just see this thing running out of a bush.
Can't do that for super prolonged periods of time.
This thing was running around for a good portion of the video.
I still don't think we have bipedal bears as a general rule.
I mean, it's a good thing probably because then they could figure out how to use their not thumbs.
They're anti-thumbs.
Yeah, and then they're texting or they're opening doors.
Yeah, bears are dangerous too.
You're running away from it and you get a text. I'm coming.
How did he get my number?
I'm coming.
How did he get my number? The description is kind of interesting though because you do get the whole tusk aspect,
Tusks,
elements
pointed
of
ears.
a pig.
Yeah, the tusk's weird.
Now I'm almost positive, and I'm sure if I'm not correct with this, somebody will correct me on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. I'm pretty sure hogs don't walk on their hind legs at any point. I don't think they can because of their back.
No, I mean, look at the way they're designed.
I mean, I don't know anything about animals, but is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, none of us are farmers.
Fair assumption,
but I can say I've never seen a pig walking bipedally. I don't think it's possible.
I have never seen a bear walk by or a pig walk bipedally, but I have seen photos and videos of local wild boar that are fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wild boar are scary as fuck.
Ridiculous.
That's what I think of its face.
I'm not big into hunting, but they ought to be shot immediately.
Oh yeah, plus they're full of tasty meat. I mean, you can't deny that.
Personally, I know this is.
You don't like the pork?
No, we have this discussion all the time.
Ham?
Listen, a couple things about me, guys.
Black Forest ham?
I like Star Wars. I don't like pork. I'm sorry.
Oh,
that's how I roll.
You don't need to apologize for Star Wars. Well,
yeah, you do.
You do now. But you certainly need to apologize for pork everywhere.
Not into pork at all.
It's the most fundamentally delicious
the worst
and yet
meat ever. It's terrible. I would rather eat venison.
It can be so many things. It can be loins and roast and chopped.
I would rather eat venison
and bacon and hammed.
I don't like any of it.
Oh,
I don't. I prefer
I don't
steaks.
Understand.
I prefer steaks or chicken.
You know they call people human pig in Papua New Guinea because we taste a lot like pork, allegedly.
That's okay. All right. Good to know.
Yeah.
That
is another one.
Don't go there.
Another one to grow on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, don't go there. They will fucking eat your ass. So we got this pig simian.
6 foot
pig simian
shaggy
creature.
gray hair, which is sort of like the Honey Island Swamp Monster, too.
I was thinking about that, too. But the Honey Island Swamp Monster is short. She's a tiny little bugger.
No,
right?
no, not so well. You know,
I thought she was supposed to be tiny.
Not as big as the typical Pacific Northwest and British Columbian Bigfoot, which is like we're talking 7 foot on average.
Right.
It's more like 6 foot.
Okay.
The crazy thing about it, though, some people think Holyfield probably faked a lot of it, is that the tracks were three-toed.
The three-toed tracks,
which is very common in
Gators.
Midwest. Well, in Midwest Bigfoot sightings, Jeff Meldrum, I did a study on it once. Three-toed tracks are not that rare, but these were, like you just said, very reptilian.
Yeah.
So it almost seems like he was making like some weird crossover gator track thing. I'm not entirely sure I'd buy those tracks. I mean, I got to hold one. It was awesome. I loved interviewing his granddaughter and seeing all the accoutrement of his studies, but I'm not 100% a believer.
Right.
But I love the Honey Island Swamp Monster. But skunk apes, Honey Island, like the Micaiah skunk ape photos
Where
from
does
back
this
in the day.
fall in?
This, I don't think it's, I mean, all right, so maybe it's got bad dentition. Like maybe it's a skunk ape with bad teeth, a case of the rabies. I'm going out in the limb and I guess calling back the guy I put down earlier, not put down, but didn't believe his theory, and just unnaturally big ears as some people have. Maybe it is just a lopsided, deformed skunk ape.
Going back to Friday the 13th, is this the Jason Voorhees of Yetis? Is this just the
ostracized by its peers because he's pulling an Eric Stoltz mask, except the poor bastard can't breed. There
isn't really anything else that kind of fits this description.
But the things that the pointy ears and the tusks are really
the hog-like mannerism.
Well, unless it was just wearing the head of a boar.
Oh, could you imagine?
Oh,
like
I like
Leatherface?
that. Yeah, there you go.
Like a trophy mask.
Yeah, just cut. Oh man,
if they're
just cut the head
intelligent
of a
enough to do
boar off
that,
and
that's
wear
what I'm
it,
saying.
and it's a psychopathic Bigfoot.
That's kind of cool.
My buddy Paul Tedisco and I, you remember, some years ago, were hired to rework somebody else's screenplay. It was a fun thing to do about a Bigfoot that went wild. Now, for some reason, the director wanted a half bat vampire thing. It was fucked up. It was weird, and then the project fell apart. But before that happened, before he was looking for a weird half bat that rejected all things Bigfoot, it was a Bigfoot movie. So we made a rogue Bigfoot. And we gave it reasons. It wasn't so much rabies. It was just ostracized and fucked up and deformed and in pain, and it was destroying lumberjacks and all that shit. And then there was sweet Bigfoot justice when the normal Bigfoot came out and like you can't rep us, and they just beat him to death. It was a great scene. Trust me, it's a movie you'll never see. It will probably never get made. But it was wonderful, and I was really proud of it. And there was also a Bigfoot fighting a logging machine that was really awesome, very folky and bloody. None of that fucking matters to what we're talking about. What it is, I'm getting back to is, maybe this is, I mean, my niece insists that her friend's cat is being treated for schizophrenia. That it takes medicine for it. I can't wrap my mind how a fucking cat can be diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Yeah,
I think it's a fucking scam. I think they're bilking this poor people out of money to help their fucking cat because cats are fucking schizzy anyway. And I love cats, but that's just the way a cat fucking
animals,
is.
Animals they can be mentally unstable if they are inbred.
I can believe that.
They get a little bit goofy.
How do you diagnose it? But if
schizophrenia? Oh, I don't know.
Schizophrenia. But the thing is, if it can happen, and let's suspend, because she gets so mad at me when I deny that I think it's real. I mean, I'm not saying I know it's not real. I just think it's impossible to diagnose. But that having been said, what if a Bigfoot or a cryptid in general just went nuts? Because here's the thing. This is not acting like a typical creature.
No, but it's also not described as a typical cryptid.
Well, typical Bigfoot.
I mean, typical Bigfoot, yeah.
There's no typical.
It's not really. I guess it almost can't. I don't know if it falls into the Bigfoot category, though.
To play devil's advocate, though, regardless of what this thing is, Whaley struck first. Like, all right, a monster's charging you with tusks and pointy ears and snarls.
You got a scythe. Yeah.
I don't blame Whaley for his reaction. I really don't. I think I probably would have done the same.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, he started whacking him with a scythe.
Yeah, but he was charged.
Yeah, I know.
If you don't want to get hit by a scythe, don't come at me, bro.
I agree.
Is that like a meme or something?
He could have been using like fucking hogfoot talk for like, hey, buddy, let's have a picnic.
You can't take that chance. That thing runs at you snoring. You got to hit it. But I wouldn't want to.
Once he whacked it a couple times, you can't blame him for shredding his shirt. How did
he must not have whacked it properly.
Yeah, he hit it in the arm a couple times, in the chest.
In the hands or something, too,
you
right?
got to use the point, get right in the eyes.
Well, scythes, I mean, they're fucking sharp. They're made to be sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have an entire blade.
And to reap souls, in all fairness.
Yeah, I mean,
sharp and reap souls.
They're pretty big. So
I would think if you hit anything with a scythe decently, that you would cause a decent amount of damage. Not like cutting an arm off.
Well, if he sliced it, maybe he just was whacking it the other way.
Yeah, because you got to hit it on the blade side to get to
they're not exactly made as a weapon. They're made for...
Right, it's true.
And this thing's looking at you. It's got the wild animal frenzy about it. You're 20, alone, terrified.
55, celebrating 13 years of winning World War II.
Exactly. It's 1955. You narrowly escaped the draft.
You just made it.
Maybe you got drafted for Korea that year. I don't know how that worked out.
That's where Korea was happening.
We should find out whatever happened to this guy. I would love to actually track this guy down and pick his brain, because one of my problems with this case is it plays like a horror film. It's great. It's like a climax of a horror film, especially the part where he gets in the car, he's calling for help. Kind of a dumb move. You should have just fucking got out of there. It jams through, rips a hole in his arm. He has to fucking run out the other side, run into the woods, then do the juke move. Yeah. I mean, it's fucking cinematic as the dickens. Yeah. Certainly more cinematic than I Was a Teen Werewolf or whatever, Teenage Werewolf, whatever the fuck kind of passed for horror films in the mid-50s. Right. It was a truly... You can feel it when you're reading it, like how scary it would be if it was really happening, and you better be just that fast.
Yeah.
And then God, it started lumbering towards the end.
Well, then he heads into the woods and kind of like does a
seems like such a bad idea, but it was
gotcha,
good.
And he ends up coming back, and the thing's obviously in hot pursuit. So what I'm wondering though is that the sheriff checked it out, and he's like, yeah, there was a large, vaguer object that was there. There was some sort of tussle.
What does that mean?
Where was the scythe? They checked the scythe out.
In all
was
fairness,
there blood?
It was his boss, the head ranger there.
Right.
I think Bowen was his name.
Okay.
That saw signs of
so it wasn't the sheriff. All right. So his boss checked it out and was like, there's definitely a struggle here. So
what about his injuries?
Yeah, exactly.
Did he get him checked out? Why is there no pictures of his injuries?
He had scratches.
But, I mean, is that all they had was scratches?
Yeah, I mean, the shirt was torn. There was scratches running down his... I mean, from now, with gouge technology, we could get DNA from the gouges.
Right.
If there was any to be had.
Or, I guess, how deep are these scratches?
Well, I've heard them described as everything from, like, minor scratches to modest gouges. I think it's probably somewhere in between. I think it broke skin, maybe bled a little. Some probably were just raised welts. Maybe he leaned away in time. I don't know the dynamics of it, because all we have is what's reported.
Right.
But that's pretty fucking freaky. Like, if the thing's reaching and trying to grab you and you're lunging the other way and it gets enough to scratch and tear your clothes, it probably would have done worse had you sat still.
Well, yeah, totally.
You have to assume this thing had some nefarious intent.
Or the guy may have fallen into a briar patch.
Oh, and made it all up. But then what's the benefit of that?
Just saying.
Really, it was burdocks.
Yeah. We normally blame diabetes and LSD or magic mushrooms, occasionally alcohol, but maybe it was just burdocks.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
He's drunk and fell in burdocks.
Yeah, he just rolled around. No. But the interesting thing, though, is the sheriff talks to this farmer who might be
the farmers.
He might be like the coolest farmer ever because he's like, I'm going to get these boys good. And he had to go what? He had to borrow a sheet from a housewife.
And borrow a mask from a kid?
Buy a mask, yeah. So which is like the most
he didn't buy it. He borrowed it.
Yeah. That's the most.
Yeah, that makes
what's funny is in the story, he's like, bed sheet, got that from a housewife. A mask, bought it from a child. Like is that detailed in the story apparently, which is kind of weird.
And he went hot in the crick.
Yeah, apparently
the fisherman.
He's ignoring his farming duties.
To stay up all night.
The crops there are dying, and he's out all night pulling an orange eye, trying to scare all these people.
Unless he's running a fish farm, and that's his livelihood. But they should have described that if that was the case.
Fish hatchery?
Yeah, I doubt it. I think he's just pissed that people are on his property. He sounds, you know what? Cantankerous. Just a curmudgeon
rarely
son of a bitch.
Cantankerous.
Yeah.
Like to the max.
Super cantankerous. All right. So,
but it is Scooby-Doo is fucking. You almost think Hanna-Barbera had to have heard the story. Like an old farmer scaring people off his land in a mask. We could throw some teens in a fucking Great Dane.
And only the one dude can understand the Great Dane. So you got to take that into account because this guy is saying like, yeah, no, I've been out here scaring kids. Clearly what happened to this dude is not what I don't think the farmer...
It's not that dude. You know instantly.
Could the farmer have shut up and scared the shit out of the kid? Totally.
Startled? Absolutely.
Totally.
That whole ordeal? No.
Yeah, I guess I need to have more information about what exactly happened. Like, if we had pictures of this kid being attacked, or obviously, as far as
Unfortunately, there is a drawing from the original newspaper reports that I haven't been able to find. But I hear it was like super exaggerated and cartoonish. Like the tusks were drawn as big as a walrus and... I think they just lampooned it.
Like you can't walk, your tusks are so big?
Yeah.
Bummer.
Like Gamera big.
Cool. Space turtle tusks.
Which I love, but,
Yeah.
It's not the case.
So, I don't know. But there hasn't been anything really... Obviously, in the area, there was no reports, no, like, lore.
Well, there's lore of, like... Bigfoot-type creatures in Georgia, absolutely.
Well, like in that area specifically.
Well... I don't know what kind of lore was, from the Kinchafoonee. I'm probably going to say it wrong.
Did you just mix up Kinchafoonee with Kinchafoonee?
No, I really do think it's Kinchafoonee.
Yeah,
I'm going to look at this fucking thing. The Great Ghost of Kinchafoonee. Yeah, that's what it is. So I don't know if this creek has a huge reputation for it, but as I said earlier, Georgia was in the midst of a wicked flap of humanoid sightings. I think some UFO sightings too. 55 was a crazy year, but Georgia was, along with Ohio and a few others.
Why is that?
Nazis.
Oh yeah, just makes sense. They got
13
bored.
years after the war, they were like, unleash our Nazi animals onto the U.S.
Actually, I think the war was still going on in 42.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, 42 it was. But, I'm sorry, I was referring to 55.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Time
maybe
traveling Nazis.
Nazis unleashed.
We got all that Nazi information. All the scientists came here.
Operation Paperclip. Yep.
They got the Nazi bell working. Open up some portals.
Aliens came through.
We have a story about NASA occult, which involves someone opening portals and somebody else opening more portals.
And portals galore.
Portals everywhere.
The problem with portals.
Yeah, the cryptozoological.
Haley Mills.
We should start the offshoot show of the problem with cryptozoological portals. It's not a monster; it's a goddamn fairy beast.
Portal.
Yeah, I don't know, Chris. What do you think? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. Except if it's kind of a squatch, except it's got a boar head, so it's either a predator. It's wearing a boar head. I guess it could be. I mean, there's no reason it can't be a fucking bear, I guess. I don't know. Are bears prevalent in Georgia?
I don't.
Really?
I don't have
what's
that
the
information.
deal with that?
I would assume they're prevalent everywhere.
Well, they obviously had hog bears there, which were little black bears.
Yeah.
So some kind of bears, yes, are in Georgia. I don't know if they have problems with it.
That makes me think that it was just a bear. I mean, like a...
Well, that's the most obvious...
Yeah, because... And I've seen the videos. They do walk on their hind legs. Granted, they don't have tusks, but they make some terrible fucking noises.
Yeah.
Real terrible noises. I've had some bear experience.
But they're not going to chase you bipedally for that long. They're not going to look mostly like a gorilla with some boar characteristics.
They do have kind of weird paws.
Maybe it did, but maybe it wasn't as long as like he remembers it being the whole encounter. The whole encounter could have lasted 10 seconds.
Yeah,
but it seems
true.
like
when
you're telling it that like it took like 5-10 minutes.
I know what you're saying. I think it had to go a little longer than that, because just think, charged, whack, whack, whack with the scythe. Oh, fuck. Run to the car. Come in, Ranger Jack, help me out. Monster attack, back out, into the woods and back. It's at least a minute.
Oh, sure, but a minute is...
Oh, it's not super long, no.
That's what I mean. So
but I still
all of
can't
that happening in that
a
time is...
deformed bear, unless it's a rabid bear that's face just got hit by a Mack truck, so its teeth are sticking out all weird and its face is all puffed up and fucking simian looking, and he's just fucking... hurt his first forepaws, his two forepaws.
That actually kind of works. It was a super injured bear from an auto accident that was on its hind legs attacking the guy. That actually makes complete sense.
Maybe it was eating something.
Congratulations, you've made sense out of everything.
End of the pod.
Maybe it was eating something and it got disturbed and it's like, dude's going to take my fucking dinner. That's why he gets pissed.
Super pissy,
so when it gets up, his face is all fucked up because he's got bone and he was gorging on a fucking corpse. Like,
that makes sense too.
Oh, so you think the tusks were just like fucking deer bone, like deer ribs sticking out of its mouth?
Could have been anything.
Could have been, yeah.
I mean, it could have been.
But like you said, I mean, if it was a bear that had some sort of accident and had like facial injuries to it, it could have, I could have swore I saw there was something. It was a bear that had like no nose or something. It was the saddest looking goddamn thing I've ever seen. I wanted to give it a hug. But...
hairless bears are just nightmares.
Yeah, no, they're terrible.
I feel so bad for them, but they don't even look like things from Earth.
You want to buy them a coat. you want to get a nice North Face.
I'll get him a duster.
Yeah, no.
Here's a sweet cowboy hat and a duster.
Jesus.
Go gunslinging.
That's abuse. I was just in
How's that abuse?
Yeah, you love dressing fucking animals. We fucking dealt with that.
What do you mean it's abuse?
In former pods.
Not with a duster and a cowboy hat. How dare you, good sir?
He wants to be a gunslinger. Don't be a.
I was
don't
just
judge.
in Wegmans and was in the presence of a woman with a duster and a cowboy hat.
High Plains Ursus, man.
We're in goddamn middle of nowhere, New York. There's no reason to have a duster and a cowboy hat.
This is the
you're planning to shoot the
perfect place for a duster.
The tumbleweeds in the Wegmans parking lot.
Can you imagine?
I think she watched the Dark Tower and was getting a little bit too into the movie. But anyway, closing thoughts, gentlemen. What do we all think? Robert?
All right, bearing in mind that, of course, it could be this guy talking shit, though I don't see what he possibly could have gained from it, like, at all. He didn't seem to, again, monetize it in any way. He's only 20. He's got a pretty good job with the state. That's all you want back then. Get your job, get your paycheck, married and kids, do your thing, live in the post-World War II American dream. I don't think you're generally going to make up a story of something that I'm not even sure where Bigfoot was in 55. Like, if the legend had even begun yet, I should know that by heart, but it was around the same time.
Sure. Right.
So to say this weird pig-headed ape monster with thick arms and tiny hands is chasing you around, and then to have injuries from it, like, what would you be trying to conceal? Like, what is so bad that this story is an improvement?
He could have hurt himself on the job, and I'm pretty sure there's no like workers' comp, so maybe he was trying to just get out of like telling.
But a couple scratches on his arm and a ruined shirt.
I mean, who knows? I don't know.
I don't think he was crippled.
Or thinking about the whole thing with the job too. If he's on the job and he fucks up something major, who knows what? But all of a sudden something gets fucked up. And
broke the county's only scythe.
Yeah, dude. Could you imagine?
Were you playing around? Were you fucking around, Whaley?
I could totally. You know what? You know what?
Yeah.
That's a God damn it, Rob. You are great with the debunking tonight because you are just hitting everything that makes sense. If he did for some reason break tools or the scythe, I mean, in 55, you don't have those things like just sitting around workshops everywhere.
You don't have scythes sitting around?
I think you do.
I don't know if you forge them.
No, I think 55, the Industrial Revolution was in pretty good swing.
Yeah, but let's just say, okay.
There wasn't the great scythe drought of 55.
Let's just say this guy goes to lunch, he comes back, he's all pissy, he's using the scythe, whatever, this fucking sucks, whatever. Somehow the scythe breaks, he's like, oh shit, I broke the scythe, I gotta tell the boss something.
I have to invent a monster?
I was attacked by a hog bear. Like, I could see that. I've definitely heard of stupider shit happening than that.
I've heard of stupider shit happening, but I just can't imagine. No, I haven't really. That's so fucking stupid.
No, I've definitely heard of stupider shit than that.
Well,
like,
people do stupid shit, and who knows? Maybe this guy is
something as simple as breaking the scythe maybe he's new on the job and he's like, shit, I broke this thing. Not like a simple break, like the blade snapped or something, because you can obviously toss it like the handle snapped or something.
There's no severe scythe break. Like the handle breaks, that's not somehow so terrible.
Scythe break.
I don't.
There's
confused.
nothing basic like the blade, but the handle. Give up your pension there, Johnny Cakes.
I have personally witnessed more than one person ruin equipment and attempt to back themselves out of how they ruined it.
Absolutely. Makes perfect sense. Did any one of them cite a monster attack?
No, they didn't.
All right, because that's where it gets fucking absurd.
Okay.
And plus, it sets him up for humiliation and ridicule.
Or it sets him up to be the guy that saw the monster and all the chicks are like, oh, that's the guy that... No, that wouldn't work either. That would totally not work.
Because monster hunting totally gets you laid.
Well, at that point, though, he could have
sarcasm
just said it was a bear.
Years.
Yeah.
What's that?
He could have just said it was a bear, though, at that point.
Might not be as fantastical, though.
Yeah, you're right.
You gotta take the
Chris
fantastical.
Chris just nailed it. If he's worried about the precious one scythe of the fucking county, and he broke it,
they had 3.
It makes much more sense to say it was a bear. What could I do?
Because there's still nothing you can do about it if it's a bear. But why make up like
crazy monster?
Oh, I had a
story.
cape and fire came out of its nose.
Kind of going back to Falkville, though. I mean, people can very well get caught up in a lot of stupid shit for absolutely no reason to start making up dumb stuff.
No, I know.
You know.
He might just maybe he just wasn't thinking about it, and that was what came into his mind. That's what he fucking said.
Or again, maybe this dude got scared by the farmer. I'm not taking the farmer off the table because I think the farmer's got something to do with this. This is the great ghost of Kinchafoonee.
This would be one thing if he was like fixing a sign at like midnight and he had been pulled from bed because the essential railroad crossing sign fell or something, and you got to shore it up there, Joseph. Go out in there and do it. He's like, all right, boss, I'm the low end of the totem pole. And then he sees some fucking crazy shit in the woods. Okay, maybe a fucking Halloween mask and a sheet can cut it then. But in the middle of the day, barreling right at you, chasing you up and down the fucking road, you are going to know if it's a bed sheet and a goddamn down post mask.
I don't know, man. 55, no down post necessarily.
All right.
Just
generic
saying,
rubber, whatever.
You never know, man. The guy admitted to it. But I wonder if the farmer, did he admit to scaring him?
No,
he was just in the area?
No, not that.
Oh, okay.
I think it was implied he was saying that, everyone went monster crazy. I started this trend of, protect my fishing hole.
Yeah, let's not forget his whole admission of starting of, I got everybody seeing monsters. Oh, where they go there? Woo, scared monsters all around.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of weird.
If there's one crazy fucker in this story, it's that
fuck-sucking
farmer.
Yeah,
farmer. I don't trust it.
That farmer's lost his shit.
No, he's crazy, but I feel like that's the MacGuffin.
Yeah, true.
Like you think it's it, but it's not. It's like Pumpkinhead. Some asshole just raised them.
Oh my god. Fucking Pumpkinhead.
It's the fucking local priest. Being an asshole.
Keep away from Pumpkinhead unless you're tired of living. There you go.
Oh boy.
All right. So
yeah, that's it.
I think he saw some weird shit, and maybe it was a fucking deformed bear, and maybe it was a genuine
we got a deformed
unidentified
bear.
animal.
We got a guy breaking a scythe, too scared to tell his boss, claims he saw a monster. But Chris is correct. It would have been easier to say a bear would make it look like less of an asshole.
Yes, it would.
Not that he's an asshole.
I think
he very well
Joseph
could be a very
Whaley,
nice dude.
20-year-old Dawson City resident, saw something fucked up and was scared and was attacked.
But there has not been a follow-up.
Not that I know.
Nothing with this. Okay.
All right. Maybe.
All right.
They didn't live to tell the tale.
Oh. Farmers in the field. Is there a song? Is there a song?
Farmers in the field.
Where were you going with
Farmers
that?
in the field scaring all the kids.
Oh.
It's a song. Come on.
Okay, I'll write it next
We
week.
could do it like John Mayer. We could do it like Hootie and the Blowfish.
No, we can't.
We can do it like who's that guy?
Hootie?
Tekashi 6ix9ine, right? That rapper with 6ix9ine tattoos
All
everywhere.
right, you just stop now.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard?
I don't even know what you're
the new
talking
Cardi
about.
B by any chance?
I don't even know who
It's
that
a good
is.
record, actually. It's really good.
All right.
All right. So
I don't believe that.
yeah, interesting story. Thank you, Robert, for all the research as always.
Thanks, Treasure.
Yeah. Thanks, there, National
Your
Treasure.
nickname. I love it.
I'm gonna go.
so honored.
So you're gonna go with crypto? You're gonna say definite crypto?
I'm not saying definite
Okay,
crypto.
all right.
I'm saying
well, good.
50% crypto, 50% something really fucked up that occurs naturally in nature. But I'm saying 100%, in my opinion, not a hoax.
Okay, I'm gonna say injured bear. Chris, you're gonna say?
It seems like it was probably a bear. Something happened, and I believe something happened. I just don't know what exactly that thing was.
But I'm totally open to the fact that yes, maybe this is some sort of I don't know, subspecies of a squatch or whatever. I'm totally open to it. I mean, is that a thing? There's a subspecies of squatches?
And interbreeding can do different things. And inbreeding, as you mentioned earlier, can also do things.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
And if there's so few of these things...
The hills have Sasquatch.
If there's so few of
the
these
albino
things,
squatches.
they're bound to have some, like, you know... lovey time with family members and create some really fucked up genetic anomalies that are just not gonna like slink away in the darkness and play fucking Black Ops fucking cool shit where they're never seen and they steal your apple but then they're gone. There's gonna be ones like oh
I wish people could have seen that.
Yeah.
I think I'm safe. I don't think
Christ,
anyone is pro inbreeding.
So I mean, it's gonna be like a sideshow family of squatches.
That's what I think it is. I think it's incest Sasquatch fucking
Jesus.
hog bear monster face.
All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you for joining us for the Kryptonaut podcast. As always, contact us on the social medias, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Instagrams. Let us know what you think about this. Send us your thoughts, comments, theories. Be sure to rate and review the show on iTunes and the Apple Podcast app. It helps us out greatly as far as our standing in iTunes and podcast world in general.
I like the way you put perfect. Cool.
World.
It helps.
Yeah.
Please do it. And
It
you know
helps.
what? We love hearing from you.
You know, I love reading the reviews. I appreciate
makes
them.
my fucking
Makes
day.
my day. Also, too, don't forget we have merch at our T Public shop.
Sweet ass t-shirts,
Sweet
coffee
merch.
mugs.
Oh yeah.
Thanks to everyone who's bought the merch. It's great. It means a lot to us, and it totally helps support the show.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
It helps us with the bills and whatnot for
You're the best.
keeping this up. So, and also to send us photos of yourself, either on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, Facebook too. Well, with the merch, we got a bunch of pictures of people wearing shirts, and it was pretty cool.
Oh, I didn't know where that was going. I thought that was getting creepy for a second there.
No, I want to know, man. If you get a shirt, show it to us,
I would
man.
love to see it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
totally. Show us you wearing.
Yeah,
Why would it get creepy?
it's just weird. Send your photos. I'm like, oh, Mark, why?
No, yeah, with your sweet kryptonite.
Yes,
gear.
no, that makes sense now. You just took you a minute to say it.
Why did you? Okay.
I just assumed the worst with you.
Why?
Well,
with me of all people?
Well,
Wow, that's a scathing review from the National Treasure. I don't appreciate that.
You know I love you.
All right, thank you
send
very
Mark
much.
your pubes.
Oh my God.
That's gonna get caught.
No way.
No, that's gold. That's pot gold.
Your toenails.
Oh my God, dead skin mask.
Cool. All right, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Bye.
Oh, fear the Squatch. Fear it. Fear it. Incest Squatch.
Oh, God, it's terrible.
In Squatch.
Terrible. Don't Google that.
No, don't.
Ever.
No.
Do not Google that. I'm talking to you.